If you guys have watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know that one of the projects we are unbelievably bullish on is Stellar Lumens XLM. And the reason being is because we think it's well positioned. In fact, it is front and center of this digital transformation that is really still yet to take place, where the global world embraces distributed ledger technology. I think Stellar Lumens, due to the partnerships that it has, is very well positioned in all of this. And today we're going to be extending those thoughts. And this video was largely inspired by an article that was released in August this year. And it spoke about how the National Bank of Ukraine is advancing towards their hryvnia. Now, I'm definitely not saying the name of the Ukrainian currency right. We'll just call it the Ukrainian dollar from now on, perhaps. The National Bank of Ukraine is very much moving towards this, and have actually got the technological partners that they need to enable this. Now, this is interesting, certainly related to Stellar, because they've been working with one of the oldest banks in Ukraine, with a fintech partner, BITT, under the supervision of the National Bank of Ukraine, to do exactly this, to launch an electronic hryvnia. And they've actually piloted this. They've also done studies, a case study on Ukraine's instant transparent payment network, bridging central bank settlement with the Stellar network, and are very well positioned in Ukraine more broadly. And Ukraine's actually very well positioned to adopt cryptocurrencies, certainly given a lot of the things that are going on. And we're not going to get into anything political in this video, so if that's what you've clicked on it for, it's not the video for that. We're going to be focusing on Stellar's integration with a central bank that seems pretty clear and evident. And again, this is just another arrow in Stellar Lumens' quiver that leads us to believe it's going to be a very impactful technology in regards to this digital evolution transformation that is taking place. Let's dive over to the article that inspired me to make this video. Solutions from Ukraine. National Bank plans to test digital currency. The National Bank of Ukraine understands the potential hryvnia architecture model. Preparations are underway for a pilot project using a digital form of the non-cash Ukrainian dollar. And the search for a technological partner is being completed. I wonder who that may be. Well, we're going to put forward who we think it's going to be during this video. The chairman of the National Bank of Ukraine, Andriy, stated this in an interview with RBC Ukraine. Physical currencies like the paper Ukrainian dollar is costly and time-consuming to produce and distribute. It also makes targeted payments and subsidizes more vulnerable to fraud, often requiring complex safeguards to prevent misuse. By comparison, the digital hryvnia offers streamlined, secure transactions and enables direct targeted payments. According to the Minister of Digital Affairs, its electronic form would allow authorities to track suspicious activity in real time, greatly reducing the risk of fraud, a system increasingly adopted by countries worldwide. It's 95% of countries are exploring CBDCs. The digital euro, for example, is effectively a CBDC, but it doesn't leverage any crypto, whereas I think the Ukrainian dollar, certainly the Ukrainian dollar, the hryvnia, is actually likely, I believe, going to leverage Stellar. We'll show you why that is in just a second. It says, in February 2022, the National Bank and the Ministry of Statistics developed a roadmap for the introduction of the electronic hryvnia. It's interesting. We're going to show you that Stellar have been working with them since 2021, and actually in 2022 gave us a case study all around CBDCs and things like this. We'll show you the links in just a second. The National Bank says, we want this pilot to give us maximum information to decide on a large-scale issue. At the same time, we are very closely watching how CBDC process is developing in other central banks, said the head of the MBU. Actually, I think last week we released an interview that we did with the Croatian National Bank, and we also have an interview with the Austrian National Bank to follow a member from there. So how many other crypto influencers do you know that get to speak to national banks? I'll wait. According to Andriy, special attention is paid to the development of the digital euro project, which doesn't leverage crypto, by the way. Considering Ukraine's European integration course, the MBU team interacts with the European Central Bank, the Bundesbank, the Bank of Belgium, the Bank of France, and the Bank of Singapore. But it's too early to say that a decision on issuing the hryvnia is about to happen. First, there will be a pilot. We are currently preparing for this pilot, warned the head of the National Bank. For reference, the hryvnia, a digital currency, is an ambitious electronic currency that Ukraine has been diligently, and we'll show you how, working towards launching for quite some time. Recent years have been marked by the appearance of innovative products for making calculations and payments worldwide. In addition to cryptocurrencies not backed by real money, such as Bitcoin, central banks of many countries are also experimenting with electronic currencies. The National Bank of Ukraine, where this pilot project has been running since 2016, also strive to keep up with the rest of the world. At the same time, the NBU noted that the use of the hryvnia should be convenient and accessible to all segments of the population, legal entities, state bodies, banks, and non-bank financial institutions. It has legal status of money and is mandatory for acceptance as payment. Now, the National Bank will conduct testing of the digital hryvnia, for which banks have already received innovation to participate in the pilot project. The purpose of the experiment on the use of digital money by central banks in Ukraine is to determine whether there is demand for this form of money amongst the population and whether there is a need for its introduction at all. Now, this was a press release from Stellar themselves back on the 14th of December 2021. Ukraine electronic hryvnia pilot launches by Tascombank and BITT on Stellar. It goes on to say, pilot will test electronic Ukrainian dollar on programmable payroll of public enterprise DIIA's employees. It says global fintech BITT and Tascombank, one of Ukraine's oldest commercial banks, have launched a pilot project to issue an electronic Ukrainian dollar on Stellar. As part of the pilot, the cross-company team will test the electronic Ukrainian dollar on the use case of programmable payrolls for public employees in DIIA, an IT solution enterprise, as well as for peer-to-peer payments and merchant payments. The project is being implemented under the supervision of the National Bank of Ukraine, which we just heard from, and with the support of the Ministry of Digital Transformation. Deputy Minister of Digital Transformation of Ukraine noted this pilot project will serve as a technical basis for the issuance of electronic money and is the next key step to advance innovation for payments and financial infrastructure in Ukraine. The objective of this project is to pilot the issuance of electronic money on an open blockchain with assets control capabilities for issuers. Tascombank will build, test and regulate electronic Ukrainian dollars on Stellar, and it will be deployed on BITT's digital currency management system. BITT market proven DCMS encompasses a core monetary transaction network, a secure minting system, and digital currency operation manager. Tascombank chairman on the board said, with rapidly growing impact of virtual assets on everyday life and economic landscape, it is essential to utilize the advantages of blockchain technology and new related products as part of the bank's long-term market strategy. Cooperating with BITT to build on Stellar allows us to connect our core banking system with blockchain-based infrastructure, creating an ecosystem that includes a full range of banking products and operations with electronic currencies on the Stellar blockchain. Electronic currencies pave the way for a more sophisticated product in the virtual asset field that we are all excited to explore. CEO at BITT stated BITT is excited to work with the leading blockchain networks like Stellar to leverage its many benefits, including greater flexibility that aligns with the electronic Ukrainian dollar's specific needs. BITT will equip Tascombank with all the technological requirements to securely mint, store, issue, distribute, and redeem an electronic Ukrainian dollar. In the country that has been quick to adopt a variety of digital currency technologies, and applications, we see a bright future for the electronic Ukrainian dollar and many use cases that will bring value to Ukraine and beyond. Danelle Dixon then gives a quick comment and a little bit about BITT. With staff of over 60 highly qualified professionals from all over the world, BITT is a global financial technology company that provides digital currency solutions to central banks, financial institutions, ecosystem participations worldwide. BITT is at the forefront of financial innovation with specialization in central bank digital currencies. The company's digital currency management system leverages blockchain-based distributed ledger technology to introduce the benefits of the most efficient financial ecosystem today. Now, granted, this came out in 2021, but the article that we looked at the start was about the advancement of the Ukrainian dollar, which Stellar has been working on under the sort of supervision of the national bank since 2021, so 4 years plus now. There was also a case study that's very interesting, and it was about Ukrainian's instant transparent payment network bringing central bank settlement with the Stellar network. This is a little bit more up to date. So the report on Stellar is in late 2024. Stellar launched a live pilot in Ukraine called the Transparent Payment Network, working with both local banks through the Independent Association of Banks of Ukraine. The project used the Stellar blockchain to power real-time payments that settle in under 5 seconds, aiming to make everyday banking faster, cheaper, and more transparent. The pilot proved highly successful. Merchants saw 70% lower payment fees by cutting out card networks, while banks reported up to 60% reductions in transaction costs and happier customers. Donor organizations also saved 20% of transfers compared to traditional systems. Stellar's technology has clearly demonstrated that blockchain can improve national payment infrastructure in the real world. For Ukraine, adopting Stellar's network was a way to modernize its payments and rebuild trust in the financial infrastructure while providing how blockchains can serve real humanitarian and economic purposes. So Stellar Lumens, I think, in the context of everything that we've just looked at, not only have they worked under the supervision of the National Bank of Ukraine, Lumens is definitely, if you talk about DLTs, the DLT within Ukraine to sort of enact this transformational revolution that's taking place on distributed ledger technology. And I found that very, very interesting. I think XLM is going to play a role in the Ukrainian dollar. But we shall see. Just interesting. A little bit of recapping there. Some interesting news on the back end of what the National Bank of Ukraine is saying. We know that Stellar Lumens is very well positioned, and ultimately think, for reasons like this, and this is just one of many kind of coalitions that Stellar has globally, we think that Stellar Lumens is going to play a major role in this world that we're moving towards. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it from me. I'm going to love and leave you. Some of you may be finding out about what Stellar is doing in Ukraine for the first time today. Hope you enjoyed this one as much as I enjoyed presenting it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.